fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up there.
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
It's a brand new season, and with a brand new season comes brand new challenges, and with brand new challenges, we head to a track which has been the same old challenge for a very, very long time. 3.62 kilometers, a circuit which has all the undulation changes in the world, and it also hosts some IndyCar racing. We are here at Lexington, Ohio. The Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is our first port of call for the third season of the DSL Welding Services V8 SuperCup here with SimSpeed TV. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching around the world. My name's Jake Sperry. Joining alongside me today is Brady Baldwin for the ride on what is going to be a very important challenge for a lot of drivers out there today. Their first chance to dust off the boots, see exactly where everybody sits pace-wise, and go out there and really give everyone a what for what this season is going to be. There are a number of drivers who are going to be looking to try and push themselves to the top here, Brady, but Mid-Ohio, this wonderful circuit when it comes to racing, has been a technical marvel for what is a very difficult machine to pilot.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. Thank you for the introduction and good evening, everyone. Mid-Ohio, one of my personal favourites and certainly one of the toughest tracks in these V8 touring cars. And as we look into Mid-Ohio, around Cleveland, Pittsburgh and Columbus, we'll zoom into Lexington, Ohio, here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and a very challenging track, like you said, Sperry, but can put on some very good racing too.
It certainly can. This Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course has all the makings of a traditional American road course circuit. That big run up towards the keyhole corner, turn number 2. It's going to be one of the key places to get it done. Then the run all the way down to turn 4 at China Beach is going to be key. You've got the S's section 6 through 8 transfers, which you can go and make some moves on. And then you've got the run at Thunder Valley up through 10, 11, and the carousel at 12. It's such an underrated piece of circuit that it can catch a lot of people out on the wrong day. It is one of the circuits where it is not necessarily the most high speed of tracks out there, but when everybody is trying to get themselves the best time available, this 13-turn course has always been a very difficult one to get 100% correct. Now, in terms of what they'll be dealing with today, these are V8 supercars, of course, which means that we've got the Ford Mustang and we've got the Holden Commodore. Of course, we're still running in the previous gen, no Chevrolets to speak of just yet, but we got these drivers all pushing. But here's how it's going to work today. They've done their 60 minutes of practice. We are in the midst right now of 30 minutes worth of qualifying, and of course we've got race action coming up. It's a 41-lap race today here, Brady. They're restricted to 3 tyre sets for the majority of this race, or the entirety of this race, I should say. And they've only got 60 litres of a fuel tank to work with, which means that they are restricted with how much they can put in. We're expecting it to be a one-stop, not much movement in terms of strategy, but a safety car could mean something on those 3 different tyre sets.
Yeah, certainly. If a safety car comes out before or after the pit window, you certainly could see some guys in the mid-pack take another set of tyres and try and blaze on through the field on a fresh set. According to our stats, the critical lap number tonight will be lap number 18. So see everyone start to come in around lap 18 to lap 23 is when the fuel pit window will be closing. So certainly going to be about 5 or 6 laps of action when the pit's open. And like you said, if the safety car comes out, it's going to be all for all there.
It will be all for all, and these drivers will be giving it their all. As you can see, a number of drivers out then looking at their qualifying laps, trying to get as much as they can out there. 2 different categories out there to determine racing here. And Brady, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how everyone is going to be pushing about those different categories and what they're sort of racing for here today.
Yeah, certainly. We got the Super Pro top category drivers, so the more experienced campaigners, as we see the top of the timesheets, Dylan O'Shea for simtrigs.com DPR, one of the top drivers in the Oz NZ Simsphere in these V8 touring cars. So look out for them guys. Blake Delaney, Thomas Freeman for Fishy Motorsports, Andrew Dyson as well for simrigs.com DPR. So a lot of top drivers in the Super Pro category. And then we also got the Super Sport category for the more rookies and amateur drivers in this series, so everyone's got something to race for in this series.
Sounds like me, that second category. I definitely fall into sport and definitely not pro out there in terms of racing. Dylan O'Shea in the simrigs.com DPR Mustang just pulling over to one side. He currently leads the top of the times at the moment, a 120.604. Is currently 3/10 clear of Sebastian Varndell in second position. Now here is Andrew Dyson in fifth position, the other of the simrigs.com DPR Mustangs, making his way up over through the S's section through 7, 8, and now into turn 9. Very easy to lose the rear end through here, up over the crest. Try and get some drive off the exit, and now you're through Thunder Valley, the right then of turn 10. You're opening up to try and get as much of 11 as you can. It's off camber through 11, and at least at a long, looping, forever corner of the turn 12 carousel.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. One of the most difficult parts of a racetrack on the iRacing Sim service, but when you get it right, it feels really good, and Dyson improves their position number 4 at 21.2.
Yeah, a 21.276, so up to fourth fastest, jumping over Thomas Freeman out there today. Another drive to keep an eye out on, always going to be good in terms of times. There is Thomas Freeman in the Fishy Motorsports car, then running through the middle sector. 777, keep an eye out on Michael Taliancic, someone who's been in and around the scene for a very, very long time, and will be certainly looking to try and prove that you could say that the old dog's got some new tricks. But in 7th position right now on a 121.5 is pretty much in that window, so to speak, where you're in that top 10. It's a 30-odd car field that we got here today. So being in that top third probably gives you a good chance of thinking about, okay, I'm thinking about a top 5 coming out of today's racing.
Yeah, certainly Taliancic, like you said, and one of the more experienced campaigners in the field, has certainly done a lot of laps in these V8 touring cars. So look for him to try and get a couple more laps in. We've got just under 8 minutes to go left in qualifying, so he's got another 2.5 tenths to make up to Blake Warboys in P6. So certainly not out of the realm of possibility for Taliancic. It looks like he's about to start another lap.
Thomas Freeman on screen right now, running through the IndyCar start at turn 3, and now looking for the brakes at China Beach. It's the prime place today to get the passes done. And as you go through 4, you're trying to get up and over this plateau at turn 5. So easy to lose the back end through the exit of 5 because the track pulls away from you, and then it's flat through turn 6, and you're through the flick of 7 and 8. Very easy just there. Thomas Freeman grabbing the inside grass, Brady, and that was enough. Just unsettled the car through that section. Now, what makes these Mustangs and these Holdens out then here today very difficult to try and navigate when it comes to the way that they drive? It's a car that, definitely from my understanding of it here, Brady, is a car that absolutely understeers everywhere, but has the tendency to oversteer, which makes it a handful.
Oh, certainly. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. Understeer or oversteer. There's no real in-between. And if you find that in-between, you're doing pretty well. Obviously, big, heavy cars. So that back section of the track, that's what makes it even more difficult, because the cars are so heavy and they're not nimble like a GT3 car. So getting through the back section from turn 5 through to turn number 12 is certainly a task in itself. And you'll see the top guys that make it nice and flowy. And certainly put, like Dylan O'Shea, he's got 3.5 tenths on the field, so obviously he's found something pretty good.
He has. We did see Thomas Freeman go 4th fastest. Now here's Brody Senton's pursuit, looking to make the run over towards the line, and it's a 1:21.784, so does improve time, but not position. Stays in 10th place for the moment behind Tim Mulford. So that then for Brody Sentence is not enough maybe to jump more. And they'll be looking at this track, and they're in sim time heading up towards 20 to 10 in the morning here, Brady, which means that an early track means a cold track, but it also does mean that this track is going to get hotter as it goes on. And because of that, drivers are probably looking at setting their best times early, and it will take some exceptional lap times to bring the gaps down. Sebastian Varndale's just gone second fastest, or has improved its second fastest to a 120.8 out there as drivers look to try and pull off of the road or, quote-unquote, run their way down into the pit. So a lot of drivers going through and trying to get as much as they can out of it. It is worth noting as well here, Brady, open qualifying, which means when the checkered flag comes out, everybody has the chance to finish their laps when that timer expires.
Yeah, certainly, Sparrow. We're just under 5 minutes to go, so we'll have to watch and see who gets that last-ditch effort in to set a lap, because once you cross the line at 0, you're done. So you've got to make sure you cross the line before the timer runs out so you can get that one final lap in and push for pole position.
Yep, so one final lap to keep in mind is what they're all looking for, is to be in the right place at the right time. David Coleman in 11th position, trying to pilot the Fishy Motorsport machine all around the Holden then, is going to try and make as much of a push as possible. And it's a little bit deceptive where the finish line is. It's 22.4, so gearing it up for a flying lap. Turn 1, such a committed corner. Very easy to run wide off the exit because you've got that curb on the inside, really, Brady, that just stares at you.
Yeah, certainly. The first sector looks pretty simple on paper, but turn 1's a pretty committed corner. You've got to hit your apex really nice, and then obviously the big, heavy braking zone into the chicane, into the hairpin, sorry, and then a long back straight into turn number 5, which is another hard braking zone. It's very hard to master.
It is very hard to master. We'll see who will be the maestros of that. Coleman with the longest wait before hitting the brakes, going through turn 4 right now and trying to gather as much as possible through this middle sector. And it's about trying to maximize the road. Didn't quite manage it there through turn 6, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Flicking up over the hill, trying to get as neat as possible, slightly a bit too right, going through turn 8, and that's what's costing him the time out there on this lap. This is the sort of place with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go here, Brady, where you don't just lose a tenth of a second, you can lose 5 very, very quickly.
Yes, certainly through that back section where it's so windy. If you have a bit of an understeer car, you're going to lose heaps of time. And we'll see Coleman a little bit of tail wagging on the exit of the corner there. He does a 22.0, does not improve on his lap, so he will stay P number 11 with 2 minutes 40 left in the session.
Yeah, and it is 1.2 seconds adrift in qualifying right now. Drivers are trying to line up and find their right place. We're looking at the train. This is Aidan Ford, who is out there, and you've got 3 in front of him that were looking good, but you've also got a bit of side-by-side that was there between Luke Hay and Brandon Grotch that we keep an eye out on. This is Blake Warboys, though, who is gearing up for what will be his penultimate attempt then around this circuit, as he is 4th fastest at the moment on a 21.1, going under the bridge through this opening corner and trying to get as much drive off of the exit as possible. One of the things that these drivers will be looking at will be their performance bar on the top of their screens, which will tell them how much to the good they are over the course of their laps. And Blake Warboys will know that better than anybody else. If he feels like he's not going to be on a lap, he'll dial the car back to about 80% here, Brady, and then gear up for one final flyer.
Yeah, certainly. With only a bit over a minute and a half remaining, if he'll probably get through halfway through the lap and decide whether to push on, because it looks like the guys can reset on track, so he'll be able to reset, come back around and grab another flying lap. It looks like he's pushing on with it at the moment, so hopefully he's on a good lap. Warboys, fastest, one of the better drivers in this series. He's got a half a second to make up to Dylan O'Shea, and he's certainly capable of that in the WK and P car, so we'll see how he goes the last few corners of the lap, and managing it very well at the moment, Sperry.
Yeah, he was trying to get the rear settled through the middle sector, through turn number 8. That was where the troubles were. Warboys very narrow going in towards the final section of lap. They'll have 55 seconds on the clock now, so he will get another lap in. But Warboys, oh, big fishtail sideways. That'll do it at both laps then that he's got going forward. That ruins both efforts as they went towards the line. So Blake Warboys is done. Taliancic will start now his final flying lap. Questions will be, who's going to be the last driver over the line to set a time? We've got about 30 seconds on the clock, so Tim Mulford will absolutely be safe in terms of time. I'm thinking someone like Wade Sheedy might be one of the last drivers over the line. There's Tim Mulford in the Phoenix Racing Team. He's got a 22.3 in his back pocket. So Mulford, no improvement there. His best is a 21.7 at this point. Sheedy, with about 8 seconds, is going to get over the line. I think Troy Mortensen might just get over the line in time as well. So Sheedy, for Platinum Racing, goes over the line. Troy Mortensen will be the last driver over the line. So checkered flag out. Teo Sorono will stay 13th fastest out then on track. A number of drivers down in the pits. One of them is not Dylan O'Shea. He's out there trying to improve his 20.6 as he runs up through towards the carousel. So number 19 leading this qualifying session at the moment is trying. Mulford still out there on track. He's trying to improve on his lap time. Keep an eye on the timer as that goes on. O'Shea will not improve on his lap time. Luke Hay will be looking for improvements. Mulford flying through the middle sector here in the Phoenix Racing Team outfit with the Track Racer sponsorship on the front of it. It's trying to get everything all together on this lap. You'll know only John Fillingham and Aidan Ford, Wade Sheedy, they're the only drivers who can put a lap time together. Mulford up over the hill. Has he got enough to improve on 9th position? He needs 11 thousandths of a second to jump over the 44 of Alex Court, and he puts 21.8 on the board. That's not enough to improve. Fillingham will dive into the pit. So too will Aidan Ford, and Wade Sheedy might go for it over the line. No, he's going to dive in the pits. Not sure if Varndell got over the line in time for Pursuit Sim Racing. It looks like he didn't. So let us head to the starting grid and see how everybody will stack up then for today's first race of the season, and an important one here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for everyone's favorite racing here, the DSL V8 SuperCup Season 3, brought to you by DSL Welding Services, Inline Time Productions, and SVR Images. It is Dylan O'Shea, number 19, who will be on pole position, and we'll just wait for the starting grid to populate itself. Then we'll be on for a really, really cool race. This, of course, a 41-lap affair here in Lexington, Ohio, and one which, by every measure of metric, is going to be one where everyone is looking at this as their first benchmark. Let's take a look. Dylan O'Shea will be the driver who will start on pole position. A 120.604 will have Seb Varndell alongside for company on the front row. Blake Delaney and Blake Warboys, the two Blakes, will share the second row with Thomas Freeman fifth and Andrew Dyson in sixth position on the grid. Michael Taliancic and Alex Court will hold row 4 with Tim Mulford and Brody Sentence on the 5th row of the grid. It'll be David Coleman who starts in 11th with Wade Sheedy in 12th. Teo Sorono will go from 13th and Connor Nixon in 14th position. Matt Stewart and Brandon Grosh will be on row 8 with Darren McKenzie and Luke Swan highlighting row number 9 with Andy Barber and Matthew Shanahan making up the top 20. Aidan Ford and Jai Schultz will be 21st and 22nd, and another Schultz, Aidan Schultz, will be behind there in 23rd. John Fillingham, Luke Hay, Ty Delaney, Jack Anderson, Will Jesberg, Troy Mortensen, Shane Nowens, and PJ Whiteman, drivers who are able to set a time out there in their racing. So 41 laps, and they're all going to stack up. Some drivers here, Brady, are going to be all the way around the back. The likes of Christopher Tomlin and Kobe Jordan are going to be all the way at the very, very back. They're going to start halfway around the final couple corners.
Yeah, it certainly looks like a long way away for those guys down the back. And interesting to note, Sperry, Aidan Schultz, who qualified in P number 23, he's the leading Supersport driver in qualifying. So watch out for Aidan Schultz and John Fillingham with the top 2 guys in Supersport. So those guys, they'll be doing their own little race there back in P23 and P24 for the Supersport category. Then obviously up the front, we've got Dylan O'Shea, Varnell, Delaney, Warboys, Freeman. Heaps of big names up there. It's going to be a great race.
It's a great race, which has just got the lights started. Barney the Flagman's up in the Honda Gantry, ready to get this underway. 41 laps of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course starts now. Bogs down from the 3rd row of the grid. Thomas Freeman gets an awful start. He gets absolutely swamped as they run now towards the opening corner. Nice and clean from the front drivers. They get exactly what they want out of it. And at the front, it is Dylan O'Shea. But Blake Delaney's jumped up into second position. He's got an absolutely fantastic start up to the keyhole. They go for the first time. Single file through the majority of positions. Blake Warboy's starting to try and think about moves down the inside now. He's got Varndell for love and for money as they go through. But a great start as they've gone through the field. Here's a look on board with Blake Warboy. He's got Varndell pushing the pursuit driver to the outside. And now they'll break at China Beach for the first time on the inside, trying to look. Held around the outside, but has to lift as Varndell. He's down 2 off the start already.
Fantastic start there for Warboys. Fantastic move there into China Beach and very cleanly through the first lap. So very well done to all the drivers and no chaos so far. So very good. And like I said,
You say that.
I've jinxed it. I'm sorry, David Coleman.
David Coleman in trouble then, spun around at the China Beach. It's very easy to do, trying to let the car roll back in order for him to have room to turn it back around again. And he will manage it. Nice little flick spin. That won't do the rear tyres any good. But he'll be off and away again once he can get that sorted. Very nearly stalled the car, I do believe, there, the Fishing Motorsport machine. So let's take a look on the Virtual Racing School replay. See exactly where it goes wrong on the opening stages. It looks like we are clear and watching live pictures right now of what's going on. Lap 2 out there overall. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to bring you Virtual Racing School replay at this point in time. Let's take a look, though, back at how they're looking in the middle of the pack. This is Aiden Schultz, the number 52 that we're looking at this point in time. Looking forward, he's got Aiden Ford, Matthew Shanahan just in front. Mid to late pack is going to be an interesting place to watch racing here, Brady.
Yeah, certainly, especially with the Supersport guys mixing in with the pro guys. So certainly going to be interesting. Aiden Schultz, P21. Again, he's the leading Supersport driver. As you'll see on the standings, they'll be donated by a blue marking on their number. So watch out for Aiden Schultz. As I said, he's battling with some of the pro guys. So we see a bit of smoke up ahead, but all clean, pretty clean so far.
The only 2 casualties from the opening lap were going to be David Coleman and Teo Sorono, and it is under review right now thanks to race control. So that's worth keeping in mind, as there is the 17 and Matthew Shanahan finding a way or fighting away, I should say, with Aiden Schultz, who's trying to find a way to move up forward and gain a place. So there is still going to be some work to be done. And it is starting to form a couple of packs out there. One of them is behind, someone's just gone off there at the final section of roads. One of the fishy cars that finds itself in trouble. That's Aiden Ford, who's, for Platinum, who finds himself in the wrong position, and he's able to join. And the worst thing about going off there, Brady, is if you go too far off there, you're in the pits.
Yeah, certainly it's very easy to make a mistake there, especially with the downhill run into that corner. He just looks like he just locked the brakes and missed his braking marker there, and Wide just got into the wall and looks like he doesn't have much damage, so he'll keep on going. Aiden Ford, unfortunately, he would have lost a few spots there, but not too much damage. He can keep on going, and still a long way to go, another 39 or so laps to go, so a long way to recover and get a good result.
Blake Warboy still in 3rd position, has Sebastian Varndell behind for company as those 2 Mustangs look to try and chase through the middle sector of the lap, and you can just see how much they're having to work through this bit of road. And just a little look there from the rear wing, and that just shows you how much Sebastian Varndell can close. But it's very difficult through this sector of road to stay within range. There is a little bit of wake and a bit of wash in this machinery, and it's causing a little bit of havoc to get close enough to make it happen. Warboy struggling to get that turned in to the final stage compared to Varndell. Gives him the opportunity now, Brady, to get right on the power, set up for turn 2 at the keyhole.
Yeah, certainly it looks like Varndell's a little bit better in some places of the track, so we'll try and line him up in the big braking zones here at turn number 2 as well as turn number 4. So Varndell looks like he's got a little bit of pace after Warboy's sensational first lap, but looks like Dylan O'Shea doing pretty comfortably out in front, 1.6 seconds back to Blake Delaney, who's got another second back to Warboys in 3rd. So the front 2 have sort of checked out a little bit, but Warboys, Varndell certainly trying to pull that gap back.
Yeah, that gap looks good. There's your race leader, Dylan O'Shea, who is out there to a 1.8 second margin lead at this point from Blake Delaney, who leads this quartet, I will say. Andrew Dyson's holding on to the back of the group, at this point and trying to get through. Then Taliancic leads a train of 4 cars, which includes Alex Court, Thomas Freeman, and Tim Mulford. Wayne Sheedy and Brody Sentence, the 10th and 11th place drivers, are desperately trying to cling on to it. There is the Area 51 Sim Sports car that was there for the moment. Thomas Freeman is now really trying to work hard to get back into this race. And when you lose off of the start, you've got troubles, and Ty Delaney has troubles there for the Fishy Motorsports car, and that is the most precarious place on track, turn 5.
Yeah, certainly a little mistake there from Ty Delaney in the Fishy car, trying to pick up what he looks like at turn 5, just outbroke himself a little bit and just got on the grass, and just a simple error there from Ty Delaney, and would have lost a fair few spots there.
Well, let's see how it goes. This is running through then, I believe, just after the incident that he went over and through in the opening array, and we are going to be looking at how this goes. We are still live with you, ladies and gentlemen, don't you worry about that. But Ty Delaney just ended up running a little bit wide, and the issue that he has there is that when you get to turn 4, you are pretty much at the fastest that you are on track, and you're asking a car that can go 300 kilometers an hour on given straights at given times, Brady, to stop with essentially something just slightly better than what is road production brakes.
Yeah, certainly kudos to the top guys in these cars. Very hard under brakes, and the more confidence you have under brakes, the faster you are. So looks like just a little mistake there from Ty Delaney, and just made a little mistake. But shout out to Luke Hay so far, up seven positions in the 444 car, and certainly doing a really good job out there.
Certainly is, and probably Juiced Racing car goes very wide, as you say that, through that section, trying to open up the exit. That's Shanahan and Schultz behind that Luke Hay will be dealing with, so he's certainly been flying in these opening laps, and he'll have the likes of Barber, Gross, Schwann and Connor Nixon to aim for over the next couple of laps. And we're already a third of the way through, and speaking of, there goes Luke Hay. Brady, you got another one. And the Juiced car is going to have to look to try and rejoin the circuit here. You're going to have to be careful on that rejoin as Aidan Ford tries to tiptoe around the outside of the Platinum car and manages to do so. Christopher Tomlin, who didn't set a time in qualifying, also manages to find a way through then in the LCR Esports car.
Yeah, certainly looks like I should stop talking. That's 2 for 2 now. I've talked someone up, and they've unfortunately made a mistake there. Like I said before, very easy to make a mistake at that corner. Luke Hay, unfortunately, back down to P24, but as we've seen, he made 7 spots up earlier in the race, so he's certainly got pace, and still a long way to go. We're only on lap 6, so still a long way to go for Luke Hay in the front league machine.
Well, Jack Anderson also had troubles at turn 1. That was all the smoke that we saw, and now he's side by side with Hay, trying to get the move done on the brakes. He's going to be on the wrong side of the road for it, and as such, he's going to have to pull rank and file. He's not going to be able to make that move, and it is very difficult to make a move through the middle sector of this mid-Ohio course. But at least right now, it is starting to gear up behind Michael Taliancic out there at this point, and I think that's where the interestingness of this race is with the 777, because you've got Court, Freeman and Mulford. They're all there, they all want to try and get through because they know that they're hemorrhaging a lot of time to the leaders. From Taliancic to Andrew Dyson, the gap has opened up to 3.4 seconds, and that's trouble out there on track because they know they're going to want some moves. Freeman's searching to the inside just behind Taliancic, then going through, can't find a way past the Area 51 car.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Taliancic sort of got a bit of a train behind him. He's certainly putting some good laps out there, but he's half a second a lap the last time by slower than Dyson, and everyone else behind him is trying to run the same pace, probably just stacked up behind him. So it looks like a little bit of a train forming. It's certainly going to be one of the hardest tracks to pass on. So an easy track to pass on, and it looks like Freeman and Court battling for position number 7 out on the road, and Freeman gets it done around the outside. Very good move from the number 1 machine.
That was just bullying by Thomas Freeman. No other way to describe it. He took advantage of the fact that he was in the spotter of Alex Court, who had to leave the room at turn 5, and then by the time they got to turn 6, he had the overlap because he knew exactly where to place the car. So brilliantly done. And for Alex Court now in the Area 51 car, he'll have Tim Mulford here, there and everywhere for some company, who will want to try and find and pivot a way through to move up into 8th position in this race. So Focus is very much needed, and these drivers will try and use everything to their wiles to try and make these moves. So there is still a lot to deal with out there on track. It has just started to close up a little bit as well, further in front. Second, third, and fourth. Blake Delaney starting to fall backwards into the clutches of Blake Warboys and Sebastian Varndell. Dyson still holding station, but we'll take that onboard look still, though, with our driver in 9th position, Tim Mulford. This is just an understanding of what you've got available to you. As you look for the brakes and you flick through the right, it is always going to be difficult at turn 4, and you're always chasing, and it's all about watching how much wheel work you do. You want to have that wheel pointed as straight as you possibly can, Ray.
Yeah, certainly these cars require a lot of precision, a lot of patience with your right foot and your steering inputs, and looks like all these guys, as you said, closing up to the back of Delaney, and O'Shea skipped out to about a 3-second lead, and now it's Delaney, Warboys, Varnell and Dyson entering the conversation as well. So it's going to be a really good battle, and the tyres are starting to heat up. We're on starting lap 9 at the moment. The track has heated up a little bit. We're at 24-degree track temp during qualifying. We've hit 27 during the race so far, so starting to warm up just a little bit. The tyres are starting to get hot, and that's when you start to lose grip and mistakes can happen.
Varndale looking about as close as he's been for a long time. He tries to get in the mirrors on in towards the keyhole. He can't quite get the move on Warboys. Tucks up right underneath. You can see just how close he is trying to get past Blake, but as he gets the drive off the exit, a slight wiggle there for Varndale, maybe a slightly missed shift as well, and the opportunity falls away, and it can fall just as simply as that. They hit the brakes into China Beach here, turn number 4, and there's nothing doing in this group. They're all going to play very nicely with each other. As we say that, Freeman's just made a pass on Taliancic, so move up Thomas Freeman. He's just got up to 6th place.
Yeah, very good Thomas Freeman. As we said, started in 5th position, but had a pretty average start by his standards, I'm sure, and he's finding his way back. He's back into 6th, so just -1 for the day, but still a lot can happen in this race. He's 5 seconds off the back of Dyson, but still got a round of pit stops and a possible safety car if May 1 eventuates. So only Thomas Freeman can get to the back of these guys and contend for another top 5.
Well, there's been no retirement so far in this race. Let's have a look, and this is the pass that was completed at turn 4. Actually, the move was made all the way back at turn number 2, so it was nicely done up the inside, as I've just seen Luke Swan actually just fall off the road at turn 9. So trouble to Swan out on circuit. He's found the barriers out there as we took a look at the virtual racing score replay. So Luke Swan has lost a number of places here in this race. In fact, right now is racing with Nowens, and that's Teo Sorono. Oh, and that's contact up the inside as Sorono gets shoved out the way by Luke Hay.
Yeah, certainly the mid-packs, they're going for cheap stations at the moment. Luke Hay made a mistake before. He's trying to get back through the field, and these guys are down the order a little bit compared to what they were a couple laps ago. So mistakes are starting to happen, and Luke Hay, a big moment out of turn 1 for Luke Hay, big slide, and loses a couple more positions.
Big slide, big save, and once you make one small mistake, the others do tend to crop up with you. Now, there's no penalty limit or instant point limit here in this session, so drivers are going to have to work with discretion here to make sure they don't get caught up in the wrong positions at the wrong time. But especially in the mid to late field, as we just saw that, can very quickly find itself going foul if you're not too careful. Group is just starting to grow a little bit, the secondary group. This is the first group. We'll take a look from Blake Delaney's perspective right now, and then on to Sebastian Varndell's, as Varndell continues to just sit on the back of Blake Warboys, hoping that there is a move coming in the not too distant future. He's so good for the mid part of the keyhole. The one thing he can't do though is put the power down early enough. It's really costing him this run into turn 4. Plus, Warboys gets a little bit of help from Blake Delaney in front. The two Blakes, second and third, stopping Sebastian Varndell here.
Yeah, certainly not making it easy for Varndell. Looks like he's got a little bit of pace, like we said before, but because Warboys has still a little bit of draft and tow from Delaney, as Varndell tries to look down the inside, very ambitious move, pulls out of it. But yeah, Warboys still getting a little bit of tow from Delaney, which is helping him down the straight, and Varndell just really can't get anything done at the moment. like we said before, the critical lap for this race, we predict will be lap 18, which will be the earliest you can stop before you can make it to the end. It looks like Luke Hay has also had a little bit of a moment here. We'll try and catch it on the...
He's had a moment. He's had a moment coming through the final corner at the carousel. And he's decided, well, I'm going to have to come in. And that won't be good with a car that's not responding to you. And in fact, he'll retire the car. So Luke Hay will be the first retirement then from this race. We'll continue on. And there's the look down the inside. And thank you very much. Goes through Seb Varndell. He'll get the move done. He'll move up to third, but has he opened it up for War Boys at the keyhole at turn 2? The answer is no. Varndell was patient, waiting for the chance, and caught him napping a little bit then at turn 1.
Yeah, certainly. I just watched the replay back, and War Boys had a little bit of a moment on the exit of the final corner, and just overspeed from Varndell, got the run into turn 1, got the car down the inside, and War Boys couldn't really do anything other than just let him go and play the long game. So great work from Varndell, capturing the opportunity when it came up, and now he can set his sights after Delaney and try and jump in for P2. But like I was trying to allude to before, the critical lap will be number 18, which is the earliest they can stop and make it home on fuel. So it'll be interesting to see out of this top group between Delaney, Warboys, Varndell and Andrew Dyson as well, if someone will pit early to try and get the undercut.
Yeah, the undercut might be key today, and the question will be who's going to make the earliest pit stop, try and get themselves home. It is a very commanding lead, and Andrew Dyson, who's just been watching this group, might be in the best position of the lot of them, because he hasn't been in the fray of things, having a biff about, so to speak, trying to find passes. It is getting a little bit closer behind for about 10th place. Brody Sentence has bridged over away from Wade Sheedy and has caught the back of Tim Mulquin. So it gets interesting now, this group, which is just slowly starting to pass out a little bit. But you've got Brody Sentence, who by all measures and metrics, 7th down through 10, should have had the most uneventful race so far, of gained no places, but they're all still very close to each other. They've still got chances to make moves.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry, with a long way going the race and around a pit stops, and who knows when we could get a safety car if there's an incident. So still a lot to play for in this race, and looks like Tomlin down the inside there of Schultz. Great move there from Tomlin. He's made up plenty of spots in this race.
Yeah, certainly has. So that is Aiden Schultz then, who's gone very backwards, and that was Kobe Jordan, who just found a way through. So Aiden Schultz, a lot of scraping in the Southern Stars car, and that car does not want to respond to any form of turning, I believe, at this point in time. So that might be, I'm going to try and get through early. That's the 99, trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? Shane Nowens is looking at this rather intimately with John Fillingham, looking towards turn 4 and just covering off the line, getting it all sorted under braking. That's a nice bit of defending there. The Mauler Esports car had nowhere to go through to make the move, so the Mauler Holden's got to have to wait here as they go throughout the entirety of the middle sector. Everyone just starting to fall a little bit into their own packs here and there, and it gets interesting with everyone's packs now just slowly starting to congregate together here, Brady.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. And interesting to note, with that mistake, I apologise, I called the wrong car before. Aiden Schultz made that mistake. He was the leader of the Super Sport category, so that now goes to 083 of Will Jesberg. He's currently in P number 20, so 28, so he's up 8, and he's current leader of the Super Sport category. So Will's having a really good job in the Iridium SimSports car.
He is, and the one thing he'll be very grateful for is fresh air in front and fresh air behind. Just put the lap times in, try and work with them as much as possible out there over the course of his race. Lap 14 here, we're on right now of 41. Pack's getting interesting. Brandon Grosh, it's going to be an interesting race to keep an eye out on. He's in 15th position right now. He's got Andy Barber and Matthew Shanahan just behind, and those two have just kept this honest at this point in time, and just riding up over the hill and trying to get some drive away, trying to break about 1.2, 1.3 seconds, then you are gone, and it's getting very close to that margin here for Brandon Grosh to check out, get away, and focus on reaching back once again to Connor Nixon.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. And these guys doing a really good job. As you said, P15, Brendan Groach in the Frog Leap car doing a really good job. Got Connection just up ahead, and like you said, Barbara and Shanahan right behind him. So good little battle pack forming here, and we're only about 3 laps away from the pit window, and Dylan O'Shea, 5-second lead, doing a really good job out in front, but the battle pack is still behind him. Delaney, Varndale, Warboys and Dyson as they come through lap traffic.
Yep, so they've got a lot to deal with, and there is Dylan O'Shea, who's doing 1:22.3 right now, so it just shows you how much the tyre life dropped. 0.8 of a second the tyres go off then over the course of this stint so far, and the track has been heating up. It's now up to 27 degrees, which will be doing a lot of the work. Then a 3-degree rise from where they were over qualifying. So that's still in the back of the minds that this track is going to heat up here at Mid-Ohio, and it's only going to get hotter as the sun starts to beat down. But at least right now with this race, it is starting to form up here to 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th. Andrew Dyson is hoping to try and find a way through, and isn't getting much luck of it at this point, and we'll be hoping that there is some more out there in terms of getting places. No dice then through turn 2, but Warboys just trying to struggle a little bit off the exit. Blake Delaney looking pretty calm, all things considered, just managing the gap to Varndale. Varndale's nowhere near close enough to make that all-important lunge down the inside at China Beach.
Yeah, certainly these guys are all doing a fantastic job, and the last one by, they're all within a 10th and a half of each other, so very, very close times-wise, and looks like, watching Warboys though, the rear looks a little bit unsettled in the 63 compared to at least Dyson behind, so watch out for a potential move from Dyson. We're seeing Warboys lose the rear a little bit on the final corner, which allowed Varndale by, so just keep an eye on the 63 Warboys, starting to lose the rear tyre just a little. Dyson's right on the back bump here, so something could be on very soon.
Very soon. In fact, just in front of him very soon happens, because off goes Blake Delaney, and through will go Sebastian Varndale. Back into second, Warboys runs wide, and through down the inside will go Andrew Dyson. So it all kicks off in the space of, well, 2 corners, and we've had 2 big changes of position. Varndale capitalising on Blake Delaney running off the road at turn 11, and then wide at turn 12 went Blake Warboys. Thank you very much, says Andrew Dyson.
Glad I didn't jinx Andrew Dyson, so I'm 2 for 1 now, but great move, like you said, Sperry, Varndale and Dyson capitalising on the small mistakes from Delaney and Warboys, and they just got the job done, simple as that. So Varndale now will try and get away from Delaney, but as we approach the pit stops, things could switch around. If you have a slightly quicker pit stop or use undercut or overcut later in the race, these positions can change very quickly, and these guys are so close. It's going to be on for young and old here in the final 20-odd laps in this race.
It is. Can confirm that Aiden Schultz there, we just saw him jump into the pits. He has retired the car, so he's the second retiree from this race. Sebastian Varndale, though, up into that second position. We'll be looking at the likes of Andrew Dyson, Blake Delaney, and we are right on that cusp of when is the right time to come in and make a stop. The earliest that we're expecting is lap 18 to make anything happen, and none of those 4, second through 5th position, have made the call to jump down into the pits. It gets a little bit more busy the more further back you go. This is Jack Anderson, who is in a bit of a race right now and is trying to find an overtake. He's just lost the spot actually out on circuit, and that's rather important because that's David Coleman trying to recover back through the field. But already this group is a minute off your race lead here, Brady.
Yeah, certainly. One little mistake I was seeing Coleman. He's certainly a very good operator in these cars, Coleman. So, like I said, that one little mistake set him back dearly in this race down in P24. But he'll be trying to push on, hope for a safety car, and try and bounce back up and use his speed to try and get some more spots. As we see another little battle between the Iridium car and got the job done side by side going through the final quarter, and a little bit of a mistake there, and lets him by and lets another guy by. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Well, that is the pursuit car Teo Sorono, who goes through, and so too Luke Swan. So both quicker than Will Jesberg, who wants nothing to do with drivers that are not in his category. And well, I don't blame him in terms of the way he wants to go and conduct his race right now out then on circuit. But it is getting a little bit of close, I would say is the right time, because they're right in the middle of that pit window, and it's who blinks first out of the entirety of the field. Nobody has really decided they want to go and make anything happen. Everybody has been waiting for the fuel numbers to tick down, and so they go pretty much at the same time. Might be the philosophy at this point. There is this third group now out then. Tim Mulford, 9th position. He's got Brody Sentence behind, Alex Court in front, but Alex Court just started to stretch the legs slightly, just trying to see what behind Tim Mulford's capable of.
Also, I just seen Connor Nixon, P18, is the first car to dive into the pits. So lap 18, end of lap 18. It looks like Jai Schultz following him in as well. So we said the pit window would probably end about lap 23, maybe lap 24 if you're saving enough fuel, which I think we'll have to watch Andrew Dyson because he was sitting behind that pack a lot. So I think he was saving a lot of fuel. Dyson could be a little bit of an X factor here. Might be able to take a little bit less fuel than the guys that he's racing. But we'll see where Schultz and Nixon pop out after their pit stop.
Well, near the back, I would have thought, and they will then make those places as they go through. Shane Nowens will go by them, and no doubt the race leader will do as well. So they will fall a lap down to the likes of Dylan O'Shea, which will put them in the wrong position should a caution do bring itself out. For Jai Schultz, he will have the likes of Varndale, Delaney and co just bearing down as they now run on this front stretch. There will be more eyes, of course, onto who's in, and we do have Tim Mulford. That's a big first pit stop. First, really, of the contenders here today, the top 10 who have decided here, Brady, to make a stop.
Yeah, Mulford coming in from P9 on the road, so, and Matt Stewart as well. He was running right up there. So two of the guys running around the top 10 in the box now. So we'll see Mulford. He was pretty close to Sheedy, Sentence, and Alex Court. So we'll see if he makes any gain with the undercut, and we'll see if Court, Sentence, and those guys that he was racing react in the next lap or so.
Getting rather congested for the group second through fifth. They're getting traffic after traffic after traffic. Right now, Mulford leaves the pits, 39.9 lane time as he goes through. Matt Stewart, by comparison, 39.7. So was definitely able to get a lot done out of it. But now questions start to arise. Dylan O'Shea, still your race leader, still out there in front. And Fillingham goes off right in front of the leaders in second, third, fourth and fifth. And in fact, did so in such a way which stopped all of them from coming into the pit. So they've all stayed out another lap because Fillingham almost blocked the entire lane.
Yeah, that did look a little bit awkward there. Thought maybe someone might have dove in the pits, but Fillingham was just in a very awkward spot and allowed none of those guys to do anything. So,
might get a replay of that. It was very, very close out there as Fillingham finds himself in a position where he can't quite get into his box for his crew to do work and service. It was just before that where the troubles were. There you go, back end steps out, rear tyres letting go slightly, and that would have been enough to say, well, I don't want to be caught up behind someone coming into the pitch. You want as much clean air as you can possibly lay your hands on.
yeah, certainly a little bit of a moment there for the driver. So unfortunately didn't get into cause any dramas there with the leaders, and we'll have to see lap 21 now. So the pit window is starting to close, and none of the top guys have reacted yet. Freeman has had a big moment.
Thomas Freeman is stopped on the side of the road and in trouble, and that might be a big turning point. And I think this has called a safety car. We are under caution conditions, I believe. So that is going to be trouble. Well, Jesperg's just had it off, and everyone is diving in. Leaders are coming in, but Dyson stays out. So Andrew Dyson is on the wrong side. Everybody has jumped in except Andrew Dyson, who has stayed out, along with Sebastian Varndale. So they've got a decision, and they've actually gone by the pace car. The pace car's not picked them up.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of confusion here maybe for a couple of drivers. Looks like Nixon and no one's in front holding up Varndale and Dyson. They want to try and get moving and try and get in the pits, because whether they've just made a mistake or just didn't hear the call for the safety car, but certainly O'Shea heard the call, Delaney and Warboys. So certainly probably going to hurt their race, Varndale and Dyson going out another lap.
Well, not only that, but they haven't been picked up by the safety car, so they've got a lap on everybody else. The race control have got a job to do on their hands because they haven't picked up the leaders of this race. They picked up certain drivers, but there was a failure to stop for those two drivers, Varndell and Dyson. But to be perfectly clear as well, it wasn't obvious that the race was in control. And in fact, they're almost running over each other at this point in time here. Varndell and Dyson behind Connor Nixon and Shane Nowland. And they can't, of course, go by because they're under pacing conditions. So now you're going to add overtaking under yellow into this all.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. Look, I think there's a lot of confusion out there. Nixon was slowed right down, wanting to let those other guys by, but you can't let them by under safety cars, so things confusion from a lot of drivers there, and hopefully they'll sort it out. Looks like Dyson and Varndell on the radios trying to get some explanations of what's happening.
Well, they certainly are, and this is going to be interesting now on how they make their stop, because some drivers were able to get back on the lead lap, and some drivers were able to go through and get things sorted. They're pacing behind Die Schultz right now. I wonder if they're going to be told to hold in the box and wait until the leaders come through. Of course, this is the first safety car that they've had, so there might be some teething problems, but it wasn't necessarily clear that the safety car was in the middle of the road and was picking up the leaders. It was expecting everybody to come in and make a stop. Sebastian Varndell's just left the box, and Andrew Dyson's left the box out in front. So those drivers have a lap on the rest of the field right now, and that has to be rectified here by race control.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not sure how race control is going to call that. I don't want to be race control right now because a bit of a messy situation, unfortunately, and we'll have to see how everything plays out. But what we know is Dylan O'Shea is certainly the leader of the race. Where Varndell and Dyson end up, I'm not really sure, but we'll just have to wait and see what race control come up with.
Well, at the moment, they will funnel out to the back of the pack, and it will be up to everybody else. I think the easiest thing that they could do is wave the entire pack around, but that doesn't change the fact that Varndell and Dyson would have gained an advantage then and have the race lead here overall. So they've got options here. Either they've got to neutralise the race and bring it back to where they were, or they've got to give a penalty out there. There is the AMG GT4 safety car, which is out there at the moment, but it is now going to be a really, really important phase of this race and how everyone will sort things out. And it might take a little bit of time. And that's going to be the costly thing for everyone, is how much time is it going to take, because it's going to completely take the fuel game out of the play. It's going to completely throw that out the window, because everyone under pacing conditions is going to be pretty much low revs, saving as much fuel as they possibly can, using maybe half, 40, 30% of what they would normally use per lap.
Yeah, certainly there's one thing you have to take into mind, Sperry, where before where they pitted, they were going to be pretty tight on fuel to the end. They might have had to do a little bit of saving, but now that, like you said, takes it completely out of the window, and it's pretty much just going to be a sprint at the end. But hopefully they can sort this out sooner rather than later and try and get the race back underway. And we'll see if anyone can challenge Dylan O'Shea. He's been pretty good out in front, and he's got now Delaney in P2 effectively, and Warboys in third, Talianchich up to P4. So, like you said, we'll have to see what happens with Varndell and obviously Dyson. They haven't had any instructions yet, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, they'll have to see what happens indeed as they pass the stricken machine of Thomas Freeman, who is now going to be putting himself in position. So there he is at this point. So I'm sure that the drivers will be keeping an eye out on where they are and where everybody is, and we'll be waiting to hear from race control to see where everybody is going to put themselves come the end of racing. So it's going to be a case of Michael Talianchich, I think, speaking for the entirety of the field, saying, well, hey, you're going to have to wave everybody around. This is the only way that's going to be fair if we're not under green flag running. If we're here under yellow flag running, everybody's going to have to go around to catch back up to the two drivers who jumped past them, which is fair play, but they've still gained that bit of an advantage. Thomas Freeman, who's been sat there for 4 or 5 laps, might have the engine go at this rate here, Brady, because he's been idling for so long.
Yeah, certainly, and looks like Freeman just went back to the pits, as you said, that's Sperry. So hopefully they'll sort this out very soon, and we're on lap, what are we, lap 24, so we've still got a long way to go, about 17 laps to go, so hopefully we can get this sorted out and we can go racing very shortly.
Well, there was a bit of waving, and someone's gone, well, hold on, why should we be waved around when they've gone and avoided and gone through orders? So everybody now is just having a here, there, and everywhere, trying to work out how to bring this race back to a neutral state as it was before the safety car was out there and deployed. So this is an important moment in this race as they still pace behind. There are still lap cars in the middle of all of this. Jai Schultz, for example, PJ Whiteman, who are ahead of Dylan O'Shea out there on circuit. So they'll go around, they'll at least have another lap, and I believe it'll be at least a couple laps here, try and sort out over the course of this V8 Supercar Cup that they have been going through here. Brought to you, of course, with some amazing efforts that have been going through, of course, with DSL Welding, Inside Line Productions, and SVR Images. But all the drivers now will get waved around up to Andrew Dyson and Sebastian Varndell. So that should at least bring the field back to a neutralized state in this race. Those drivers get waved around to Andrew Dyson. What happens afterwards is going to be the important phase of this race. Whether Andrew Dyson and Sebastian Varndell get a penalty for ignoring safety car protocol and not picking up the safety car, or whether that falls on race control, who did not pick up the safety car. You could argue here from this situation, Brady, at this point, that Dyson and Varndell, they could say that, oh, the safety car wasn't in the middle of the road. It was on the left-hand side of the road. It didn't pick us up. That's on the safety car. That's on the race control.
Yeah, certainly, Sperry. There's definitely a few ways you can definitely look at it, and it was just awkward timing as well. The leaders were coming on the main straight when the safety car came out, so it was very awkward for timing as well, which didn't help the situation whatsoever. So it's just one of those unfortunate things, really, and I think it's going to be looked at post-race. So certainly don't count on the final results here. There could be some changing on the final results post-race, depending what race control decide to do with Dyson and Varndell. But I think we all just want to see some racing going ahead again, and they've waved around the pack, so hopefully we will see something very soon.
Well, everyone's trying to get themselves around, and I'm sure at this point it's now about trying to get back into position. All this means is that laps keep getting ticked off the board, and it's an important few laps that keep going through. So for Dylan O'Shea, who is third position, you will see them go through. There'll be a few more cars that get waved. They'll get their laps back here. Will Shane Nowens and Will Jesberg. So they'll be back on the leading lap after all of what went down, and everyone will fall behind the two drivers who didn't get picked up initially by the safety car, Andrew Dyson and Sebastian Varndell. Now, the next issue they're going to have is slowing down for the safety car, because the safety car right now is going roughly about highway speed, 65 kilometers an hour through the middle corners. So these drivers who are absolutely going for it, 150 miles an hour to catch back up and get this race going again, Brady, they've all got to slow back down again.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be a little bit awkward trying to funnel everyone. They went past pace cards, all but 4 cars went past the pace card, get them back in order, and then figure out where everyone's going to be. So certainly a tough task for race control. Definitely don't want to be in their position right now, but looks like we'll be getting close to going back racing, hopefully in the next 2 laps or so, and we'll have about a 14-lap sprint to the end, which will be cool.
Yeah, so Jai Schultz then will get waved around, and this is Dylan O'Shea, who will come up to the pack and will slow it down deliberately here, and everybody now has got to make sure they go through. Drivers are getting their wave arounds then to go back onto the leading lap of this race, but only drivers who are 1 lap down will get that wave round. So PJ Whiteman, he has got himself then a long wait before he goes through. He's in the middle of all of this, and we'll see the likes of Ty Delaney go through and gain the lap back. So still drivers out there gaining their lap back, and because they're so close, that will mean another lap then. So lap 26 will go through. We'll get probably at least 14 laps of green flag running, and that's John Fillingham looking not very healthy at the front. I'm sure you can see every little bit of intake there of that Ford Mustang on the front, because that does not look helpful at all or healthy for the 151.
Yeah, well, I was just having a look at the replay. Unfortunately, Matthew Shanahan and the number 17 machine, sorry, got on the grass under safety car, had a spin right into the path of John Fillingham under safety cars. So, yeah, I've certainly seen it all tonight. Unfortunately for Fillingham, literally had nowhere to go. So, it's unfortunate. Stuff happens, but yeah, very unfortunate for John Fillingham there, as he has pretty big damage, and I don't think the engine's going to last very long with that front end damage that he would have sustained.
And finally getting released, PJ Whiteman, so he'll be released forward and gets the wave around. So Andrew Dyson, your leader, Sebastian Varndell in second, Dylan O'Shea in third, and Blake Delaney in fourth. It is currently a DPR 1-3 as things stands, with Sebastian Varndell in second position. Missed his box at the pit stop, but that wouldn't have been of his concern, knowing that he'd been waved around. He knew that even if he had a bad pit stop, he was going to be guaranteed second position anyway, Brady.
Yeah, certainly. It's still not sure what's going to happen with Dyson and Varndell, whether they will keep the front two spots. There'll be a penalty afterwards, not sure. But I think everyone just wants to go racing again. We've been under safety car for feels like forever, so hopefully we can sort this out. Looks like everyone's pretty much caught back up, so hopefully we can go racing in the near future.
Kobe Jordan gets some tyres and service, and that is going to be crucial. So Dyson, your leader, Varndell second, O'Shea is third, Blake Delaney in fourth, Blake Warboys is fifth, it's Michael Talianchich sixth, Tim Mulford is in seventh, Brody Sentence in eighth, Alex Court back to ninth, and Wade Sheedy rounding out the top 10. There have been some good gainers in this field. Aidan Ford up 7 spots, 21st to 14th. Jack Anderson up 7 spots from 27th to 20th. But the biggest mover in the field right now here, Brady, is Christopher Tomlin, 33rd to 21st, a gain of 12.
Yeah, Tomlin doing a very good job there, gaining a lot of positions. So, great.
Car profiteering massively out of it, who are racing for a podium and now racing for a win here today. Anderson, of course, your leader when it comes to the Super Sport category, but when it's Super Pro, Andrew Dyson, he's going to have to hoover up every opportunity he can get his hands on to maintain as race leader. Goes right out to the outside of the circuit, trying to wait for the right time to put the power down. He's followed pretty well by Sebastian Varndell, but we're going to get green flag racing. Varndell struggles heavily as he spools up with torque oversteer. Down to the inside will go Dylan O'Shea, looking for the race lead. O'Shea gets a big wiggle. They're going to get into each other. Varndell brawling across the grass. Can he keep it out of trouble? Yes, he can. He drops 4 positions, but somehow holds on to it.
A fantastic driver there from Varndell, but that went off on the final exit. On the restart there, Varndell, big lose, and O'Shea down the inside, and looked like actually a bit of netcode contact out of turn number 1, and massive moment for Varndell. O'Shea with a bit of damage on the right hand side, that won't affect him, and now Delaney up another spot. This is on for young and old here with 14 laps to go.
Dylan O'Shea nearly lost that second position because Blake Delaney saw what happened between the two, very nearly found a way to make the move. So it has very much kicked off then on this restart, as many expected that it would out there at this point in time. Round in the background, Brody Sentence in trouble then, coming over the crest of the hill. That's going to bring Wade Sheedy through. Alex Court's going to find a way through, and Matt Stewart now trying to think of a top 10 as Darren McKenzie tries to go around the outside.
Yeah, just looking back, a little mistake there from Sentence, dropped the left rear onto the grass and lost the rear end. Very good save though, not to be any worse off, but unfortunately he goes from 8th on the restart, and now he's just lost a few positions there, back to position number 10. So just 2 spots lost, but unfortunately a top 8 not happening at the moment for Brody Sentence, but he's only got a little bit of pace, and we'll see if we can make those spots back up. It looks like Talianchich looks a little bit pacey up ahead.
Oh, he does. He'll go the long way around. He's going through. Sorry, that's Blake Warboys trying to go the long way around. Blake versus Blake. Delaney has got nothing for it. Warboys looks great on a fresh set of tyres as he goes around trying to find the move. He's still got to get it done at China Beach though, because there was always overlap still. And Delaney on the brakes. Can he get it slowed up? He can, but they're going to stay too wide to 5. And up over the hill, if you get drive down the hill, You've got a good run. It's still held at 6 then by Delaney. Warboy's refusing to give this one up. He's on the wrong side of the road though, inside at 7. He's got to go the long way at 8 and 9. Can he get the clearance? Still though, Delaney firing back up the inside, and the two of them coming together, which opens the door up. All of a sudden, here's Sebastian Varndell, and then 3 wide up Thunder Valley, trying to find the move. Varndell trying to go the long way around and get this move done. He'll get one of them. Warboys was thinking about moving up then, another position, moving into 4th. All of a sudden, he's back in 6th with Taliancic and Mulford. And
that is V8 touring car racing at its best. That was absolutely sensational there from Warboys and Delaney, and just opened the door for Varndell. Delaney goes wide now, loses 1, 2, 3 spots. Delaney, big moment for the 08 machine. Now Varndell back to position number 3.
Make that all 4 places for Blake Delaney. He's still in the group, but all of a sudden the door opening, Taliancic trying to get some elbows out. The top 2 DPR cars have run away at the front of the field, so they'll have their race out there to determine who is going to be the winner. But Michael Taliancic, Blake Warboy side by side as they go in through China Beach once again on lap 29 of 41. Warboy's on the inside. Does he get the elbows out? He does. Pushes, commanding the track, but he can't get the turning clearance, and he's just about managed it now. So Blake Warboys holding on to station.
Yes, LA Warboys just holding off, and Taliancic right in the thick of it now. We said at the start of the race, one of the older heads in this field, lots of experience, and he started in position number 7. He could be on for a top 5, and he's in the top 5 right now, looking for 4. So great job, Taliancic, taking advantage of those mistakes from in front, and just a solid, clean race, and back in the top 5 where he belongs. Great job, but that battle last lap was absolutely nuts, Sperry.
Absolutely was, and I'm sure that for everyone who's involved in it, they were just hoping that it didn't end in disaster. On board with Wade Sheedy, the Platinum Racing car, as he looks behind at Brody Sentence, looks in front at Alex Court, and they're trying to jump onto this group, which they know is just going to start working together now, and it's going to find ultimate pace, and that was just what they weren't looking for, them to just slowly break away. It'll be tough now for Mackenzie and Stewart to stay with them, but that's troubles on the straight towards the rear. That's the 99 of Shane Nowens who's going to be there, and that will be Kobe Jordan looking to try and make progress through.
Yeah, it looks like just a moment on the exit turn 1 for now, and just ran a little bit wide. Big save there, and nearly got in the side of Ty Delaney, so good save there for now. Lost a couple of positions, but he's back going again. But yeah, the battle up front is heating up once again. Taliancic right on the back of Warboys, and Mulford as well has snuck himself into the conversation, P6. So up 3 positions for Mulford in the Phoenix car, so he's doing a really good job. And Delaney, obviously we've seen he's been running top 3 pretty much the whole night. He's now in position number 7 after the mistake. So Delaney's trying to find a way past Mulford, and Taliancic is trying to hang on as well. It's going to be really heated battle for the last 11 laps of this race.
Tim Mulford took a really shallow line at the carousel, blocking it off. There is number 98 on the screen. It's Aiden Ford at this point in time, and he's doing a very, very good job in this race as he now puts behind him, as he's got Matthew Shanahan just behind as they deal with their race. So still more for Ford to go and deal with, but he's okay at this point in time. He's lost a couple places, but he'll try and get them back as soon as possible. Michael Taliancic, though, all over the back of Blake Warboys, trying to find the pass that will give him another position, one more that will jump him up into 4th place. It's not there. Behind him, though, up the inside goes Blake Delaney, and he gets a huge kick of oversteer trying to put the power down, but they still continue on, and there in the background, they can see it. Blake Delaney trying every which way to find a move on Tim Mulford, but he can't because Mulford is just calm, just knows where to place the car, and it just gets a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, certainly Delaney very deep under brakes into the back straight, turn 5 there, and looks like he just got the power a little bit too early, kicked the rear out, and just lost a little bit of traction there. He's probably lost a little bit of grip for the following corners, so Mulford's got a little bit of reprieve, but it looks like Delaney does have a certain pace advantage on Mulford, and looks like it's just a matter of time before he gets past, but Mulford's doing a really good job, and Delaney looks very pacey and looks like he wants to get the job done very soon.
the big key for Tim Mulford is he's putting the power down in the right places. And it's looking like on entry, Blake Delaney is firing it into every corner, but Mulford's got everything on the exits. And that's giving him the advantage on these straights, covering off every single move. And that's why Blake Delaney's getting frustrated. And they're both losing ground to those in front. It is starting to close, though, for the race lead. Another 0.4 of a second, Dylan O'Shea wipes out of his teammate, Andrew Dyson. And now these two suddenly realise, okay, we got 6 seconds almost at the front of this field. We could race it out for this victory, but would they want to jeopardise the 1-2 to race amongst each other? Dylan O'Shea, knowing that he was the rightful leader of that race before the safety car and lost the lead due to whatever happened there with the safety car not picking up the lead.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue because I think Dyson's just going to go for it, and either way, if he gets a penalty or not. But certainly feel bad for O'Shea if he doesn't get the job done here because he pretty much dominated the whole race and probably deserves the victory here today. But we won't talk about that. We'll just talk about what's on track and what we can control. And it looks like Varndell has actually lost a little bit of ground, and Warboy is making up ground on position number 3. So this could heat up in the next couple laps.
Certainly could. Blake Warboys is going to definitely want to get past Sebastian Varndell sooner rather than later. But he's got to get there first, which is the key. And it's interesting to say he's got to get there, and they're within about half a second, but it's not close enough to make a move just yet. Everyone's trying to run close. You can see the differences in time, losing 0.2, 0.3, gaining there a couple hundredths and thousandths of a second. But half a second over the last 3 laps, said Varndell. That will be very noticeable in terms of the way this race will go about the final stages. Worth noting that Wade Sheedy's got to defend right now because Brody Sentence, you can just see in the back of shot, was trying to look for a move and is trying to look for a move on the outside, trying to get it done at the China Beach. It's covered.
Yeah, certainly Sentence trying to make up for those few positions he lost before with that mistake, and he's got to watch out because Darren McKenzie's right on the back of his rear bumper. So, and also Matt Stewart there in the 1.9 machine. So a little bit of a battle pack forming here from Sheedy in 9th, back to even Stewart in 12th, and Sorono in 13th is right there too. So looks like a little bit of a battle pack forming here for the back spots of the top 10, and certainly could come on in the last probably 8 laps to go this time by.
Yep. Well, Sorono and Coleman, remember, were caught up in the opening lap for a race. It gets really dicey between Brody Sentence and Darren McKenzie, and McKenzie will go around the outside of the final corner and get it done. Sentence will look at Matt Stewart now on the inside. Nothing doing there for Stewart. He's going to have to fall back into life. He can't do anything about that. But for the leading duo right now of Dyson and O'Shea, that's surely where the focus is. It's 0.3 of a second when they're over the line. O'Shea still not quite there. He's got so much under brakes. Oh, he gets close, doesn't he? When he gets on the brakes, and he's now starting to ask those questions of Andrew Dyson, starting to get in the mirrors of a driver that he has raced with time and again in many different machinery.
Yeah, so these two are very familiar with each other, and they've done many races together and against each other. It looks like Alex Court there in the corporate IT car down the inside of Blake Delaney there. Maybe a possible mistake there from Delaney, but Court capitalising and getting the job done. And we'll just go back to quickly Jack J. Anderson, position number 21. He's currently the leader in the Supersport category with Christopher Tomlin. He's P2 right behind him. So those guys in their own little battle fighting it out for the lead in Supersport.
Yeah, so they've got their own Supersport battle. Jack Anderson holding station at this point in time, your Supersport leader. We just saw Delaney, or we didn't see it, but Delaney did go off the road at China Beach. He dropped 2 spots for his troubles, and that put him in a really, really tough position. He's now going to have to try and get back past Alex Court as quickly as he possibly can, because he's only got 7 laps left to try and make these moves happen. I wonder if he's going to be too aggressive about it, because he's definitely showing the nature that he wants to go and get these places back through the keyhole at turn 2, waiting to put the power down and finally allowing himself to do so. Grabs a bit of curb on the exit, and it is just enough for him to fall back. He can't make enough of a move in the Fishy Motorsport car to get close enough to make it happen. It is still on for the lead. It is still on for the last spot on the podium. It is still on for many spots in and around the top 10. It's on everywhere.
Yeah, it certainly is, Barry. It's certainly kicked off since that restart. It's gone on for young and old once again, and these guys are certainly putting on a great race, as we've seen before with, you know, Delaney in the 3 wide. That was absolutely superb. So these guys putting on a really good race, and once again, Mid-Ohio, very underrated track in my opinion, puts on some great racing, and it's a shame we don't see more racing in these V8 touring cars here in Mid-Ohio, because as you see, we've had some fantastic racing here this evening.
We absolutely have, and every which way you look at it, there are battles everywhere. Safety car has certainly helped in terms of that measure of metric, but 44 still holding on to station. Alex Court in 7th position still has the very, very aggressive, in fact too aggressive, just off the road, because Blake Delaney will have to drop back because he couldn't keep the power down through that section of road. He is now going to be a very, very patiently waiting driver now, or maybe an impatiently waiting driver, trying to go through. Taliancic further up the road, starting to look close, as that is Teo Sorono, who's got the angle now all of a sudden on Brandon Groach, who's gone through. Now he's got eyes on Matt Stewart, who's now on his outside, and this could be a chance to move up to 12th position for Teo. And Teo, if he can get the overlap now here at China Beach, he might get another one here, and he does.
Yeah, certainly great move there from Sorono in the 155 machine. Very good effort, and some, as we said before, great battle packs through the middle part of back half of the top 10, and Sorono now will go up into P number 12 and try and push on, try and catch Centers and McKenzie and try and sneak the top 10.
Yeah, so there is a lot going on still, and we are down now to 5 laps to go, and O'Shea is as close as ever. The mid-pack started to get very, very dicey as well. Dylan O'Shea is trying to work out a way to get by Andrew Dyson. He might just make the move now. Dyson leaves the wide line open, but he's got it covered. He might get a great drive off the exit, though, to mitigate that. O'Shea was searching for that inside, didn't have enough confidence to lunge up the inside. Well covered by Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson, very experienced campaigner, knows what he's doing, and he's keeping O'Shea at bay. Even though O'Shea looks like he's got a little bit of a pace advantage, Dyson just putting the car in the right place and making it difficult for O'Shea. And battle on for P3, and Varda and Warboys together, and Warboys, big moment, massive moment for Warboys, and Taliancic's now up to P4.
Michael Taliancic just picks up the pieces. Blake Warboy's got a magical run, but he couldn't get it stopped. Locked up the rear axle, and just like that, his thoughts of third have turned to fifth, as Taliancic will now look at Sebastian Varndell. Everything now getting closer and closer and closer, and I love it. O'Shea still all over the back of Andrew Dyson for the race lead, and a big wiggle for him has cost him, as still we take a look from the back of Seb Varndell, who's got himself now about 7/8 tenths of a second.
Yeah, as we said before, this track is providing some very good racing, and just that little mistake there from Warboys, let it hang a little bit too wide with Varndell, gave him a little bit too much room, cost himself, and Taliancic was right there to pick up the pieces. Position number 4 for the 777 machine. A fantastic drive here today, and Warboys will certainly be looking to get the job done back down at turn 4.
Delaney as well is searching for a pass. He's hoping that he's got to move. He can't get there because Court's got him covered on the inside, and once again Blake Delaney's going to need a magical run through this section of track, through turns 2 all the way to turn 4, as it's going to be once again, where do you go? Outside line looking goes Blake Delaney, but Alex Court's just shepherding him in the right direction. He's going to go too deep. Thank you very much. Blake Delaney will pick it back up again.
Yeah, certainly Delaney just forced a mistake there from Court. He's been right on him for the last couple of laps, and unfortunately Court just runs a little bit wide, and Delaney picks up the pieces, will return to position number 7.
He will return to that position, but watch out for the race lead, because they're going to have traffic in a moment to deal with, and it'll be PJ Whiteman that they'll have to try and get by. This is an important moment in this race. This is so crucial for both of these two simrigs.com DPR cars. Dyson versus O'Shea, and all of the road used by Andrew Dyson, desperate for the lap traffic's draft, and now here will come O'Shea. He'll look to the inside, lap traffic doesn't know which way to go, and it's going to box in Dylan here at this point in time, trying to stay out of the way. It does get out of the way to lap traffic, Now O'Shea needs to tuck back in. Now he needs to run on the DPR car in front of him, and he'll have to go the long way around, or will he manage to get to the inside? Has to give the room to Andrew Dyson. Dylan O'Shea later on the brakes, and with 3 laps to go, he's through, but only for the moment, because Dyson's going to try and come back around the outside. He can't find it. He might still try into 6.
Only a great battle between the two simrigs.com DPR teammates. Dyson giving the room to O'Shea. O'Shea very good under brakes there, got the job done into turn number 5, and looks like he'll try and run away with it, but Dyson staying right on him. We're going to be 2 laps to go this time by, and these two are going absolutely at it, hammer and tong for the race lead.
But the question is, does Andrew Dyson have the pace to get back at Dylan O'Shea? There's a car off in front of him. It's Troy Mortensen, who's going to have to stay out of the way, and does so. So that's one major pitfall that they've managed to get by. Varndell now clear in 3rd position. It'll be a race for 4th, and everything else just starting to just peter out a little bit. Maybe Wade Sheedy versus Brody Sentence might be the last battle in for the top 10. That might be the last thing to keep a focus on as we take a look at these two then running through the final corner with 2 laps to go here at the line.
Yeah, so 2 laps to go, and these guys battling on board with Sheedy and P number 9. Fantastic drive so far, up 3 positions, and behind him Brody Sentence 10th, started 10th. He's 10th at the moment. Mistake, like you said, for Dylan O'Shea. Dyson right on the back of him, coming into turn number 4 again. Not quite close enough. O'Shea is safe for the time being.
Yeah, he grabbed the grass coming out of turn 2. That opened the door up for Andrew Dyson to get a run. And every little moment now is going to matter between these two. They're not going to want to cost each other the result, but they're both going to want this victory here. And Dylan O'Shea knows it here. On the brakes in through turn 9, they will charge up Thunder Valley for the penultimate time. And Andrew Dyson has every shot of getting back past Dylan O'Shea. These two racing for an absolutely magnificent race, and they're going to want it. The wake, though, costing Dyson. That will cost him 2 tenths, so that might cost him the race.
Yeah, certainly trying to follow O'Shea so close. It isn't going to help his aero performance as we get the white flag, and Dyson's going to give it his all on this very last lap to try and close the gap. But looks like O'Shea just has enough of an advantage at the moment to stay out of Andrew Dyson's toe into the heavy braking zones, but it's V8 touring car racing. Anything is possible.
Anything is, and that gap has really clawed out to half a second on the white flag lap. The brake discs glowing, still on for 4th position as well, with Michael Taliancic just having enough of a gap over Blake Warboys. And now on the back of Tim Mulford is Blake Delaney. It's taken him all of this second stint to get back to where he was. It is starting to get aggressive as well, just outside, or for the top 10, I should say, because you've got Brody Sentence in 10th place. Mackenzie and Sorono are going to want to try and find some places here as they go through. Leaders, line astern, as they are on board with Teo Sorono, who's going to try and think, can I get a close enough move? No, he can't. He's not there. A little search to the inside from Darren McKenzie, not going to work. But up at the front of the field, Dylan O'Shea with a big slide through turn 9, and now up Thunder Valley for the final time. He will go. He has absolutely had to work the wheels off of his Mustang today. He has known that this is such an important round 1. He had to fight back after the safety car shenanigans, and in fact they will get a form finish over the line. Dylan O'Shea and Andrew Dyson will win here 1 and 2 as they go through. Sebastian Varndell will take the final spot on the podium, and it will be Taliancic holding off Warboys. It will be Mulford holding off Delaney.
Yeah, certainly a great result for the simrigs.com DPR boys. 1-2, even though Dyson's result probably still a little bit up in the air with that safety car controversy, but fantastic job for all involved. And Brody Sentence grabbed that 10th place position, and as we look down the field, in position number 20 will be Christopher Tomlin in the 2-1-2 machine for LCR Esports. By our call, he will be the Super Sport winner for race number 1, so great job for Christopher Tomlin.
For a driver who didn't set a time in the half an hour's worth of qualifying, he really had to work hard to get back through and to gain the 13 places that he did. 20th place is definitely a great result by his standards, but that will pretty much wrap up what's happened in this race. Let's get official, or unofficial, I should say, classified results then here today from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And it is very much a case of race with everything that you've got. Dylan O'Shea. It will be a form finish between the two simrigs.com DPR cars, but they know that they are very good friends behind the wheel, and they knew that whoever had the lead coming into the final corner was always going to hold on to that there. O'Shea beating out Andrew Dyson. Sebastian Varndale will take third position, with Michael Taliancic finishing off in fourth, and Blake Warboys just behind in fifth place. Tim Mulford would hold off Blake Delaney in sixth and seventh, with Alex Court in eighth place, having a very respectable race. Wade Sheedy, maybe a little bit under the radar, would finish ninth, just ahead of Brody Sentence, who would round out the top 10. Over the page, then into 11th position would be Darren McKenzie, ahead of Teo Sorono, with Matt Stewart and Brandon Grosh 13th and 14th. David Coleman having to recover after contact with Teo Sorono on the opening lap of the race, sent both of them to the back of the pack, and they were still able to manage 12th and 15th respectively. Connor Nixon would be 16th, ahead of Andy Barber, and Luke Swan would be back down in 18th. Aidan Ford would just be able to beat out the winner of the Super Sport category in Chris Tomlin, who was able to have a really good run. Over then once more to Jai Schultz in 21st, Jack Anderson, Kobe Jordan, Matthew Shanahan down in 24th, Shane Nowens, Will Jesberg having to fight off a penalty late on, with Ty Delaney and John Fillingham 27th and 28th. Lap down would be Troy Mortensen, PJ Whiteman would be 2 laps down at the end of the race, and then just 3 retirees from this one today: Thomas Freeman, Aidan Schultz, and Luke Hay, unable to find the checkered flag here today from this Mid-Ohio sports car course. But Brady, that is the opening round of the season, and how important is it that it came down to making the right move at the right time, showing that you had the ability to make that pass? It was never going to be easy at the end, but all these battles, it takes a lot of nous to try and find the one move that gets it all done.
Yeah, certainly. I think O'Shea certainly worked a lot harder for it than probably what he hoped and expected. Certainly that safety car bundle, whatever happened there, certainly put him back in P3, and he certainly had to work for it after he dominated early in the race. But he just showed his class and got the job done on Dyson, and they cleared out 8 seconds back to Varndale. So it just showed those DPR cars had really good speed, and certainly they'll be the ones to watch throughout this whole series.
They certainly will be the ones to watch, and it's all about now the next stage and the next round of the championship, Brady. Of course, round 1 is one thing. Round 2 is very much different. So when it comes to Silverstone and the home of British racing, this is a track which, when it comes to it, yes, it's open, yes, it's expansive, and it's a little bit away from the supercar ideology, but this is a place where you get touring car action, and it just lights up.
Yeah, certainly. I haven't called or seen a race at Silverstone in the V8 before, so it's certainly going to be interesting, but I can't fault that it's going to put on some great racing. We've seen tonight and Mid-Ohio some fantastic racing, so I'm very sure that next week it's Silverstone's going to produce the same.
8:15 AEDST. You can catch that Friday the 23rd of December, just 2 days before Christmas Day. What a treat that will prove to be. But in terms of us here at SimSpeed TV, that is going to be all for us here today. I want to give a massive thanks to everyone, of course, who gets it done here for us. And, of course, our 3 main sponsors for this series: DSL Welding, Inside Line Productions, and SVR Images. From, of course, the Virtual Racing School, who have been on the replays for us here at SimSpeed TV. From Daniel Yeaman behind the cameras, Brady Baldwin alongside me. My name is Jake Sperry. It's an important race result for Dylan O'Shea. He had to right the wrong on the track, and he was able to reach the checkered flag. All's fair in love and war, and between 2 teammates, they found themselves with a result they could be very, very happy with. And we'll see you at Silverstone 1 week from today, when the second round of the championship will bring itself through for the DSL V8 SuperCup.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.